Hey everybody, had a couple of customers here. Uh, let me here I am. Okay, well, need to edit it. So Facebook has changed stuff up. I'm going to have to get with Scott. All of my live videos used to be archived forever. Since I do so many of them, today is Friday, February 28th, the last day of February. Since I do so many of them, I got to get with. I know a couple of people that are admins on large groups like ours, but there's a way that we can still save them. But for the last, since the 15th, it'll only allow me to save them 30 days, and then they go away. So I don't know why Zuckerberg keeps messing with the way things have been running for years. I'm going to tell everybody good morning. Okay, Brittany's in, Greg and Don, me, and others. Okay, on the way to work this morning, which I've been here an hour and a half or so, I had two sets of customers and we got to talking about past stuff in Fort Worth. In fact, their family owned Stripling Cox, the Martins. But I had a lady call me, and I was at a red light, so I answered it and put it on hands-free. And she said, Larry, I've got a wanted poster. In fact, I got 2 or 3 of them. These things are old and yada, yada, yada. And I said, really? Who are they of? And she named off 2 or 3 outlaws back in the day. Kid Curry was one of them. I know absolutely without a doubt there's never been a wanted poster for him with a photo. Like I've told y'all before, the famous Fort Worth photograph called the Fort Worth Five, that's what it's nicknamed, that's of the Wild Bunch. The only person in the Wild Bunch at that time that any authorities could even look at a picture was Leroy Parker's Utah prison photo, which it's a perfect image of Butch Cassidy later in that Fort Worth Five. So when I got here, I called a friend of mine that lives in Austin, and he is an expert on documents, old documents. And he said, Larry, I'm willing to say there's not 10 or 15, 20 at the most ever in the 1800s. And he was talking about the Lincoln assassination, which that wanted poster was up to $100,000. That's got a picture of Booth. So my buddy down in Austin, he's coming up here, I think he said in a week or two, to look at some documents that one of the founding families, they do have some of their own documents because their relative lived them and signed them. That goes back to the 1800s in Fort Worth. So, but anyway, I just played along with this lady, and I said, really? Well, you want to put them on loan to the museum? And she said, Larry, these things are worth $30,000, $40,000, but I'll let you have a lot of them for $5,000. And I said, well, I don't think that's going to work. She said, why? And I said, number one, if you actually have a wanted poster, there's very, very few of them. There's probably, last time I searched, there was probably only 8 or 9 of the Lincoln assassination photos. And that Pawn Stars has one of them, I believe, that show. And they claim that thing's worth $100,000. So don't be fooled when you go on eBay. And you can do your own research. Photos back in that day were tintype photos. When they developed it was in reverse. Sometimes you'll see something on memories of a building or of a whatever, and it shows in reverse, the writing's in reverse. That is a tintype photo. So anyway, if the lady's listening, I'm not saying that your documents are not true. I just don't believe they're true. And they're worth a hell of a lot more than $5,000 if they're true. But she named off 2 or 3 outlaws that there might have been a squib in the newspaper, but there was never any photo. They took a lot of photos of some of those outlaws when they were dead. The shootout at the OK Corral, it shows the McLaurys and one of the Clantons in boxes. They displayed them, and that was as much being displayed because the funeral home wanted to show their fancy what they could put your relative or your loved one in. So, like I say, I'm not trying to create a firestorm. Lynn and Earl are in, Marquita's in, Marilyn. But don't go on eBay and say, oh, I can buy that photo, that wanted poster. Well, they're not real. Now, when you get to the 1900s, John Dillinger and all of them, they had wanted posters. Most of those guys had been in the penitentiary, and so photos were very much more accessible and able for people to do and take. Kodak was one of the first camera companies that put out a camera that was relatively affordable for John Q. Public, but I've had, now that was the 3rd phone call I've had of people asking me if I would buy a wanted poster. In fact, I've got a book over here in the research library. It's called Wanted Posters. I'll get it out on my break and we'll discuss it more, but somewhere out there's a list of probably wanted posters with photographs. Like I say, back then, to just take a photo, to do that Fort Worth 5, that probably took hours. They had to have a back brace where they stood and didn't move because that'd screw up the camera or screw up the flash. So, hey, Bill, good morning. So anyway, I'm not in the market of buying wanted posters because wanted posters with photographs are just, they were non-existent back in the 1800s. They're damn sure non-existent now. And the most famous photograph of any of the outlaws was taken right here in Fort Worth at Schwartz Studio. And it's called the Fort Worth 5. If they had never taken that picture, I don't think they'd ever got caught. Butch was very savvy. He knew the jig was up. So when they did that bank robbery in Winnemucca, Nevada, Butch had already said, this is it. We're going to take whatever we get, and then we got to go somewhere else because we're wanted everywhere. And they laid low here for a long period of time, and then they got cocky and took that photograph. And, of course, Schwartz put it in his display window because it was really a very good photograph. And that was them being dressed up, all decked out. Back in the days of the Acre, there's very few people even took a bath. Maybe once every 2 weeks or something. Stank. Clothes were dirty. Teeth, they didn't brush their teeth. So I did a Zoom lesson last night about prostitution in the Acre, and they said, well, they had been told several prostitutes all over the country had committed suicide, and that's true. I mean, they were used and abused, especially the crib girls, the ones that were 25 cents. The saloon girls their longevity was a little bit longer, but it was a horrible life, and they chose it. I mean, they made a lot of money for back then. They made a lot of money. There's 5 or 6 of them buried out here at Oakwood. Mary Porter's one of them. So anyway, back to the wanted posters deal. That's, if you buy one on eBay, you're buying a piece of paper that somebody's printed on it. Like I say, it was very costly. None of these towns or municipalities, even Fort Worth, if we didn't have all the fines in place in the Acre, Fort Worth wouldn't have existed. For a long, long time, the only thing we had in the 1800s was the cattle drives coming through. Then when the train got here in 1876, things got better. But the marshal would frequently, depending on how much money the city needed at that time, he'd go out and start fining these prostitutes. If they didn't pay, he'd issue them a ticket, and I'm not sure how that worked either. I've never seen a copy of a ticket from 1800s in Fort Worth. So it was a profitable business, and the shell game, 3-card money, the Pharaoh game, the odds were all against the cowboy. And believe me, they stripped them of every quarter they had. And that was their livelihood. You could really say, I sometimes say, Fort Worth Hell's Half Acre was equivalent to modern day Las Vegas. You could come here and get anything you wanted, 24/7. So that was out of the normal realm of activities for a newly settled community out here. Most places had churches and regular restaurants and farmers and this, that, and the other. Well, they bypassed all of that. So when the Acre got fully shut down in the 20s, actually 1919, it kind of moved to Jacksboro Highway. But it wasn't open because the highway wasn't built till the 30s. But it was still prevalent in Fort Worth, and it is still prevalent today. You can get in a card game, if you know the right people anywhere in town. Prostitution is never going to go away. So, okay, I got to get out here and get started. I got 2 today, but we're going to do our sponsors. There is Yellow Snake Horses, Brazos River Ranch. You can go this weekend, be perfect. You can go ride a horse for 90 minutes or 2 hours for $75. A-Bird AC and Heating, that's Dub Peacock's company. If you've got problems with your AC unit or heat unit making strange noises, call A-Bird and let them send out a representative to check it out. Eric Walsh, real estate business, realtor. He's also on the board of Larry's Kids. Great guy. Bert Ladner Real Estate. Wes Williams is associated with that group. Wes is also a realtor, and Wes is also on the board of Larry's Kids. Wes and Sarah Williams, they've done so many good things for people in need. It's unbelievable. Great people. Coburn's Catering. Steve Coburn. That company, Coburn's, has been in business since 1946. They'll cater any party or event that you got, doesn't matter how small or how big. Dickie Carr Sand and Gravel, Pat and Richard Carr on that business. Very active in all kinds of community events, church events, just good people. Now Richard's nephew is Dickie Carr, and he owns Grateful for Your Trees. So they do everything to do with trees. Cut them down, trim them, make firewood out of them. There's his card. They haul off stuff, demolition work. You can read it right there. Retaining walls, they do it all. Express Dent, Dick Regester started Express Dent about the same time I started Classic 40 years ago or so. Dick now lives in Florida, but his operating partner is Eric. They're over on White Settlement Road, kind of across from Audubon BMW. So if you got door dings, hail damage, whatever, take it over there. They can fix you up. Fort Worth Lumber, they're on the South Freeway, or 35. Building materials, anything building, plans, just go by there and ask questions, they can handle it. Brandon Cross, Cross Electric, and they just got voted, what was it, DFW's, hold on, I posted it on the group, let me see here. I know Brandon sent me a message. There it is. Larry, we were nominated on DFW's favorite list. I would greatly appreciate it if you would share the link, and so I will share it here in a minute. DFW favorites. Super. Brandon Cross, Cross Electric. So when you need a electrician, call Brandon Cross. That's a family-owned business, and you know we support Fort Worth. We buy Fort Worth, sell Fort Worth. K-Ranch Roofing. Jorge Hernandez is the owner of that business. They've done a lot of roofs for our members. If you think you might have roof damage, you just call, and you'll get Bree. Bree Ann is the office manager, I guess, and she'll send out one of their specialists and let them get up there and look. They don't charge anything to look at it. Jenny Stewart, State Farm Insurance. We all know insurance is way too high, so if you're using Allstate, Farmers, Freeway, whoever, call Jenny and let her team give you a quote. If you can save $20, $30 a month, that's $500 or $600 a year. Old South Pancake House, Rex Benson, 24/7 on University. The one in Burleson closes at 9 or 10 at night. Passport Getaways. If you're planning on a trip or a cruise or whatever, Passport Getaways, let them do all the work. You supply them with a debit card or a credit card, and then go enjoy your trip. Optimist Club of Fort Worth, that's a international group. They do lots of good things, but they have chapters in all these local towns. Jeff Norman is the man that runs the one here. They give us a Christmas tree every year for free. Anyway, just got the weirdest message. So they do a lot of stuff with youth, athletics, baseball. They give away scholarships to Tarrant County Community College. Just a great organization. Charlie Guerin's Railhead Barbecue. Charlie is our state representative. He's also a board member on Larry's Kids. He really gets involved in that giveaway. He hustles up a lot of financial aid. So go enjoy a meal at Railhead. Tell him Larry sent you. Raines Plumbing, that's another family-owned business. It's a sponsor on our group. I've had several good reviews on them. So if you need a plumber for anything, call Raines. There's Rex's Bar and Grill. He is the premier sports bar in the Metroplex. I get good reviews on Rex's Bar and Grill every day. It's in the same shop, in the same parking lot as Old South. It used to be Macaroni Grill. Well, now it's Macaroni Grill's long gone and Rex's Bar and Grill is in. Casey Kroll they are our Medicare and Medicaid experts. They can let you know any questions you got. I know everybody's got a ton of them. You try to navigate that yourself by going online to the government deal. You better make a couple of sandwiches because you're going to be there forever. Much easier to call Casey Kroll and his team. Let them come out. They'll meet you at your place, their office, somewhere in between. They're ready to do business. Jerry Schwartz and his partner, Mr. Hanson, they are our architect sponsors. They've been a sponsor for many, many years, and they've been involved in the bike giveaway same amount of time, many years. Good folks. Danny Stroud and his wife have Stroud Auto Supply. That's in the Riverside and Haltom City area. I used to buy parts there from his father when I was 16. So if you need auto parts, go see Stroud Auto Supply. G2 Garage is in the White Settlement area. Chris and his team over there, they do a great job. There's a new client special that they offer to new service. Only had good reports on everything they do. Phelps Family Auto Care in the Burleson area. Mike Phelps and his wife and their team over there. People know a lot about that organization or that business. They do a great job. Burleson area. Fort Worth Florist, Jeanette and her team are our florist sponsors. So if you're sending flowers, weddings, funerals, you're in the doghouse with your wife, have them send some flowers for you. You don't have to go out there. Just call them. There's Scott Sumner. He's our IT guru. Scott can build you a website. Any technical issues, Scott can take care of you. Alpha Design and Build, that's Lance Sanders. They can remodel your house, your room, your business. They do commercial and residential. They can put a second story on your building or your house. All you got to do is call these folks. I highly recommend all of them. Winstead Paint and Body, I've been doing business with the Winsteads 40 years when Clay was still in school. They're on White Settlement Road just past Roberts Cutoff. They do fantastic work. There's Scott again. Bring the puppies inside. You can let them out today. It's going to be sunshine. Okay, I got to go out here and get started. Y'all have a great